Today, we're gonna do something a little bit weird. We're gonna use the Verdilac as God intended. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, the Verdilac is the signature whip of the Archon Nira, who also happens to have its own set, the Nira set, which is focused around whips and slams. Yeah? I think you're starting to get the picture. The Verdilac as well as the Nira mods can all be acquired from armor bounties after finishing the new war in either Cetus or Fortuna. Now the Verdilac is a Master Rank 13 whip which does primarily slash damage, but it still has a decent chunk of puncture and impact, and it sports a 30% crit chance with a 2.5 times crit multiplier and a 21% status chance. Additionally, the Verdilac has a unique block combo which fires a projectile, though we don't really care about that today. What we do care about is the extra electricity added onto its slams, because I think that could be really fun. So let's give it a shot and see if it is indeed any good, shall we? First of all, we need to switch primed YouTube memes for Nira's Anguish. It's not a particularly good mod, but I want to run the full set, and I'm already running Nira's Hatred because I kind of like slam, so I have it on in arrows by default. This one's actually pretty good. 90% melee damage, 60% status chance, and ooh, the full set is actually 450. That's a lot of slam damage. I'm not entirely sure how it interacts with other mods, but I guess we'll see. We're gonna go influence on this because, and I do hope this works on heavy slams as well, but Verdilac has electricity added onto its slams. Well, it looks electric at least. Don't think I procced any though. Oh, knocked down. Hold on, I need to do an Inaros thing. Yes, look at me, Inaros man doing Inaros things. But does it actually proc? Yes, it does. Fantabulous. Burning Whip for the stance. Not that it really matters on heavy builds. We're gonna go Sacrificial because the crit from Steel is just way too good for heavy builds. We are double stacking base damage, but I'm pretty sure the extra crit on Steel is worth it. Elementalist for the status damage, as well as a Reflex for the combo. Do we want to run Seismic Wave as well? I have no idea how it interacts with the Nira set. Like, the wording's a little bit different, but I guess they would be additive. I don't know, let's just put it in. I guess we're gonna have to put in a D. We don't quite have enough capacity yet, so for now we're gonna drop Seismic Wave again. What I have in mind is just running gas, and then relying on the extra electricity you get on the slams to trigger influence. The status is a little bit low though. Ooh la la. The damage is lower than I was hoping for, but it is working. Oh, I just realized I have no crit damage. That might be a part of the problem. I think we might be better off just doing pure electricity. We'll lose even more status, but I think it's gonna be more reliable because instead of proccing like gas and electricity, we can just focus on that, and we do get some extra status from Elementalist. Let's finally get some of that crit damage in here. Aha, see? Now that is much better. Okay, electricity is the way to go. Should be even better with Sir Harold, with that electricity and vital. Bang! Yes! Now we're cooking, finally! It's not amazing yet, but we do get a nice chunk every now and then, and we are missing that one last mod. I need to be more mindful of how I slam, because they did change like the way slams work, right? Like the higher you are, the bigger the AoE, and maybe I don't remember what the changes were, but you want to slam from high up. You don't want to just like do a little itty bitty jump and then slam back down. You can actually chunk pretty well if we get a nice proc. You're getting the nice proc, this is the problem though. This is a nice, Malice, you're being an absolute menace. This is a very nice spot, so all the enemies just decided they're gonna jump up here, so yeah, I've been here for like the last 5 minutes or so. Since I refuse to waste an Umbra form on this, we're gonna have to add another V. Let's see what happens, I guess. That's like the problem with this game. You might have like 3 things that say the same thing but do something different, and then 3 things that say something different but do exactly the same thing. Moment of truth. Huh. Okay, suddenly we're slamming for millions. What the actual?
Clam!
I genuinely don't think I've seen a bigger difference as a result of a single mod. Like, the damage is night and day. Look! What? This went 0 to 100 very quickly. There has to be something going on with the Nira set. There is no way we put on just like, you know, because it's 450% slam damage, right? And then we put on additional 200% slam damage, and suddenly the damage just skyrockets. There's something fishy going on. Yeah, 1.7 million, because why not? I don't want to sound like I'm complaining, I'm happy with the results, it's actually very good. Especially since we have that double electricity, right? So we have the innate electricity on the slams plus the electricity on the weapon, it's actually very reliable on influence. Feels nice, actually better than a lot of other slam builds. I always thought it was a little bit weird that the Nira set was focused around whips. Like, it makes sense because, you know, Nira's weapon is a whip, but whips generally don't have the best slams, or I thought so at least. Apparently they do. I honestly think this is as good as it gets, so yeah, let's go wrap it up. So first things first, this build uses a full Nira set. So on our Warframe, we're using Nira's Anguish in the Exilus as well as Nira's Hatred as one of our main mods. Nira's Anguish is a bit meh, but it is an Exilus mod at the end of the day, and Nira's Hatred is actually pretty decent, gives you some health and a little bit of ability duration. For the actual Verdilac, we're using Burning Wasp as the stance, though it doesn't really matter, we're doing heavy slams anyway, so just put in whatever fits your polarity. And we're doing an influence focused slam build, because it just makes sense on the Verdilac since it has innate electricity on its slams. For the mods, we have Nira's Contempt for base damage, status chance, and to finish off the Nira set, Galvanized Reflex for the initial combo, Voltaic Strike to double down on electricity to make influence feel nice and reliable, then we have Organ Chatter for crit damage, Seismic Wave for slam damage, Galvanized Elementalist for status damage and status chance, and we top it off with Sacrificial Steel and Sacrificial Pressure for a bunch of heavy crit chance and damage. Now, if you want to, you can put whatever you want in the Exilus, though most mods aren't gonna have much of an effect, which is why I left it blank. And finally, I would also highly recommend a solid priming pet. I used a Hound, Good Boy Harrow, that primes cold with Coolant Leak and then Impact, Puncture, Heat, Radiation, Magnetic and Vital with its butt totem. The most important element here being Heat for the armor strip and Vital for the health damage, though Puncture is pretty nice as well because it makes enemies easier to crit and Cold increases their crit damage taken. This was a weird one, it started off as a bit of a meme, you know, let's use the Verdilac as God intended, lol, and it didn't do much, but then all of a sudden it started doing an awful lot. To a point where I would actually recommend you give this a shot. This is not a bad build at all. It clears really well, and the single target, since the slams do so much damage, isn't too shabby either. So yeah, Slam Verdilac. It's pretty good. And that is pretty much all I have for you today. So I thank you very much for watching, as always guys, and I hope you've enjoyed the video. Then I would also like to extend a special thank you to all the channel members. Thank you very much guys, I really appreciate your support, it means a lot to me. And my final thank you goes to Cuomo for the 10 Forma bundles. Thank you very much, I really appreciate it. And I'll see you, my dearest dudes and dudettes, next time. Bye bye.